Well, as the world waits for a vaccine to be approved, European countries still have to battle a second wave of the virus. Swedish authorities are forecasting that life expectancy will drop this year because of the pandemic. Early data from the first half of 2020 shows that men are expected to live 6 months less and women 4 months less. Nearby Germany has passed another milestone, reporting 1 million cases of COVID-19. Despite the high number of infections, it's seen fewer comparative deaths than many of its neighbours. Restrictions will stay in place in Germany well into December. There's more good news for the UK, though, with the virus's reproduction rate falling to between 0.9 and 1 for the first time in months. The drop comes days before England is supposed to come out of lockdown. And in France, the virus is showing several signs of declining. The weekly cases per 100,000 people has dropped to 155. That's 40% lower than last week. Deaths and hospitalizations have also fallen. Well, for more on the spread of coronavirus in Europe, we're joined now by infectious disease specialist and author of Overcoming Epidemics, Didier Pittet. Thank you so much for speaking with us here. Of these last 4 countries that I mentioned there, that's Sweden, Germany, France and the UK, considering the fact that you've been comparing how nations have responded to the pandemic, which of those 4 nations do you think has operated the best?
Well, so far, as you know, and good evening, Oliver. So far, we have been comparing those countries within the mission that was given to us by President Emmanuel Macron from France. And judging at the first wave, Germany, Switzerland, Austria were among the best countries in Europe to cope with the COVID-19 situation. However, after the summer, some of those countries did not as good as during the first wave. And currently, certainly, most of the countries in Europe are fighting this second wave successfully. And certainly Germany is one of those fighting the best, with, of course, less morbidity and mortality.
And then when we look more worldwide, where are those countries that are performing the best? Is it the likes of New Zealand, South Korea?
Yeah, New Zealand, South Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam are among the countries that were actually doing the best. Singapore too, but the situation is different in different countries. It's sometimes quite difficult to compare the situation. Of course, if the country was hurt very, very early, it's more difficult to judge. And of course, among the worst in the developed countries is and are the United States, who perform especially badly.
Now, is that because of a lack of a coherent lockdown policy in the United States? What are the drivers for the US performing worse compared to the countries that you've mentioned here in Europe and elsewhere in the world?
Very, very heterogeneous response, lack of consistency between the time of the response and the response in the different states. And as you may understand, the virus does not respect borders, as it does not respect borders in Europe. It would not in the United States and nowhere in the world. So, yeah, mostly because of bad political decisions, I would say.
Didier Pittet joining us from France. Thank you very much indeed.